Morning, everyone. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order, and first order of business is the invocation, and then we'll follow that up with the pledge.
Our God and our Father in heaven, we come before this evening, Father. Thankful, Father, for the city of Casa Grande and those who manage affairs of it. We'd ask you, Father, to be with them as they meet tonight to study the future of our city. Father, we are thankful for you and your blessings upon each one of us. We ask you, Father, to continue to be with us. Bless us as you see fit. Father, we also want to ask your blessings upon our nation as we seem to be in conflict in different places. We ask you, Father, to bless those who are making decisions that we will be able to continue on as a nation under God. For we pray in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let the roll call show that Mary is, everyone else is here.
So noted.
All right, anybody want to?
Move to excuse.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to excuse Mary from tonight's meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, please note her excused.
Mayor McFarland, the minutes, I want to move that the City Council regular meeting minutes from September 3rd be approved, and that the Arts and Humanities Commission minutes from August 12th, the Airport Advisory Board minutes from May 28th, Historic Preservation Commission minutes from June 24th, Planning and Zoning Commission minutes from July 18th, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board minutes from August 1st, Police Personnel Retirement Board minutes from June 18th, and the Police Personal Retirement Board minutes from July 15th. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the aforementioned
Except
minutes.
for the record, basically, yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the minutes have been approved. Thank you, Mr. Powell. Claims against the city, B1.
Mayor McFarland, I move to accept and pay the claims against the city dated August 28th through September 10th, 2019 as presented.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve the claims against the city. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Meeting agenda. I do have one change since we have an executive session tonight. I'm going to move item N to follow item L in your agenda. Any other changes, Larry?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we would ask to remove item I3 from the agenda this evening.
Anything else? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right, we'll move on then to no special presentations tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. Need to approve the agenda, please.
And move approval as amended.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks for catching me, Larry. All right, consent agenda items. Next item on the agenda, item G. All items with an asterisk, listed with an asterisk, are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion, one roll call vote of the council. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Anybody have anything you want to pull out? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to...
I move approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Carla, can I get a roll call? I was checking to see who's over there.
Carla.
Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston,
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. Okay, the next is the public comments. I'm going to open the floor to public comments. I do have one comment card or speaker card here. But is there anybody else who would like to address the council before I call this person? Okay, seeing none, then I'm going to come down there. Is that all right? Yes. We normally don't read a proclamation because we have so many of them that we could take up all night reading proclamations, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this one. This is, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Brandon Briggs, and Brandon, you're now with the partnership.
Yes.
Very good. The proclamation that we wanted to make everybody aware of is about suicide and suicide prevention. And so since the month of September is Suicide Prevention Month, we wanted to kind of make a special call out to it and recognize the importance of it. Obviously in the city of Casa Grande and in public health in general, is more than 123 deaths per day by suicide, which is 123 too many. So hopefully by drawing some attention to it, by one small deed of a proclamation, we can affect one person. Then it's worth it. So Brandon, thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Does somebody want to get a picture? I got a picture.
John's our photographer, huh?
Here, John, you can do yours.
Thank you, supposed to be
There you go.
I'm not there the last. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right. Did you want to say a couple things?
First of all, Mayor and members of council, thank you so much for issuing this proclamation. I know I've spoken to a few of you who I've gotten to know over the years better. In 2012, my family experienced a loss when my brother committed suicide at the age of 22. This has always been something that's been personally affected since that period of time, and even before that in my family's life. As I've become more involved in public service and involvement with our youth across Pinal County, one of the staggering things that I learned was that suicide is the second leading cause of death between the ages of 10 to 34 years old across our nation. In being a part of the Youth Empowerment Partnership and working with our youth, this is kind of one of our biggest tasks that we've wanted to accomplish. And we started that in partnership last year when I worked with our local school districts to ensure that the suicide prevention hotline number was on the back of all student ID cards across Pinal County for our middle school and high school students. That's a task that a Herculean task that we've been working to achieve, and we're close, if not going to make it happen this upcoming school year officially across all of Pinal County. But we are working with our county school superintendent as well as the state school superintendent, Kathy Hoffman, on actually being able to take this and turn this into a law across the state of Arizona. This is something that our neighboring states have recently passed as well. California last year just passed legislation requiring that. So it is something that we are working towards, but we're starting that right here in Pinal County. And with your proclamation, you join Apache Junction, Superior, Maricopa, Coolidge, Florence, Pinal County Board of Supervisors, and as of next week, the State Board of Education on issuing proclamations for suicide prevention awareness across Arizona. Across the nation, 47,000 suicide deaths occurred in 2018, and 1,327 of those alone in the state of Arizona. This is an epidemic, and bringing awareness to this and having your support and the support of our community is definitely appreciated. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to being able to do this in the future and bringing this back to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
Thank you, Brayden.
The floor is still open, so if anybody else would like to approach or talk to the council? No one? Okay, then I'm going to close the floor and we'll move to item I, award of contracts. I1.
Staff recommends that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance in support of an economic strength projects grant agreement with the state of Arizona acting through the Department of Transportation to allow the city to acquire $500,000 in state funds to be utilized for the construction of a traffic signal at the intersection of Peters Road and Thornton Roads intersection. The EPS competitive grants program is designed to enhance economic strengths and competitiveness for rural Arizona communities. As you all know, we are currently moving forward with an economic development project with Lucid Motors, and this grant is specific for improvements around that project. So we'll be using this, if you authorize the acceptance of this grant, we'll be using that for assisting with the cost of the construction of that traffic signal at Peters and Thornton. And you'll note that we currently have a project identified at $1.13 million. 500,000 of that would be the grant funds, and that'll be for the finish of the design and construction of the signal itself. It's at the 30% design threshold right now through our no, not our on-call. Through our, thank you, design concept report on Thornton Boulevard. Apologize. Should have written that down somewhere. Again, you'll note that that seems to be a lot of money for a single signal, because this will not be roadway improvements at that intersection. But if you take a close look at that intersection, you'll see the conflicts with the utilities in that area. So we've got to acquire some right-of-way, move some irrigation ditches, possibly move some large utility poles in that area, and that's what's driving the cost of that project up. But
Kevin, I think you had it at that site too, prior, not too long ago.
I do recall, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, this intersection is identified to meet the warrants for a traffic signal in phase 1 of the Lucid project. So with that and your approval, we would ask that you accept the grant from the state of Arizona. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that this one is not taking the place of any other streetlights in town, because it's grant for economic development projects. Because I know that some people in the community were concerned that we were taking this from another streetlight project or something, but specific grant from the state for economic development, and I can say that it's needed at that intersection, especially with the Walmart DC and Tractor Supply and now Lucid. So it's going to be a good
And originally we had received this grant once before, but it was tied to the Selma Highway improvements. And when the Lucid site plan changed to have a focus up on Peters, that's why we gave that grant back and then reapplied. And of course, I'd like to thank Dwayne Attell, our traffic engineer, for really pushing this through the state and getting this to this point. So again, any additional questions?
Very good.
That's great.
Nope. Okay, seeing none, then I'll consider an ordinance number, please, Carl.
Ordinance number 3156, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Arizona Department of Transportation Multimodal Planning Division, acting on behalf of the state of Arizona, authorizing the mayor to accept grant funds from the Arizona Department of Transportation Multimodal Planning Division, acting on behalf of the state of Arizona, in an amount up to $500,000 through the Economic Strengths Project Grant Program for the construction of a traffic signal at the Thornton Road and Peters Road intersection for the city of Casa Grande, authorizing the mayor to execute a grant agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation Multimodal Planning Division, acting on behalf of the state of Arizona, authorize the city finance director to accept and disperse funds as necessary, and authorizing the transfer of budget authority.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 3156 as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Carla, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, we'll move to item I2, consider ordinance number 3157.
Thank you. Staff is recommending that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase agreement or issue a purchase order to Toter LLC in an amount not to exceed $62,554, which includes the sales tax, for the purchase of 1,248 96-gallon residential trash containers for the use of our sanitation division. This is our annual purchase of our containers, and we are asking to use the National Intergovernmental Purchase Alliance or National IPA agreement with Toter based on the City of Tucson's container bid award. This is a bid that we have purchased from in the past and find it to be very competitive in container costs that we've been able to research. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Bob?
Is this the alley model, or the individual?
No, these are the 96-gallon containers, the ones that individually are rolled
For the
out to the
individual
curbs.
house.
So
Okay.
the ones in the alleys are 300-gallon containers.
Thank you.
It's not the same thing.
Quick question. Kevin, you know, when you talk about replacing damaged containers, how do the homeowners, do they have to take part in any of the costs if it's something that they've, contributed to the damage, or is it just if they run it over with their car, we have a problem?
So there's a line that someone could cross to say that's negligence and we're going to charge you for a new container. Typically, we find that the containers have either cracked or broken through wear and tear. But if we see that somebody has abused it, we will try to get the cost of the container out of them.
So you track it, so if you place it one year and they're asking for another one the next year, then you kind of research it a little bit more.
That's correct, and we do have a 10-year warranty on these. And for instance, last year I believe we had over 400 containers replaced by the company for ones that had fallen apart prematurely.
Okay.
Through no fault of anybody's.
Okay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can get a new one if they want one.
They go on to our new C-Click Fix app.
I gave you a softball there, Kevin. But yes, you can do it through the new app.
Which is still in the early stages, and we encourage anyone who finds any issues with using that app to let us know so we can work through some of those bugs.
Mr. Powell?
I was just curious if Lisa had damaged one the way you asked that question.
I have an alley. I did get a notice for the weeds in the back of my house, and I had to clean them all up, so.
Oh, there you go.
I'm admitting it, I did it.
That's an alley blight.
Yep. I
All
got
right,
my
any other
notice.
questions for Kevin? All right, I'll entertain,
Thank you.
I think it's an ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Now that I-
Ordinance.
Yeah, ordinance number, please.
Ordinance number 3157, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from Toter LLC for the purchase of 1,248 96-gallon refuse containers, authorizing the expenditure of public funds in an amount not to exceed $62,554, and authorizing execution of a contract with or purchase order to Toter LLC.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 3157 as presented.
Second.
And just a side note, that's $50 a container. So take care of your container. To Lisa's point.
Don't run it over.
Don't run over your
Don't
container.
run it over. All right. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston,
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Herman,
Yes.
Councilmember Powell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride,
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, we'll move to item I4. Assistant to the city, Stephen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, the City of Casa Grande entered into an energy services agreement with Amoresco in September 2016 for the purposes of replacing our streetlights from the high-pressure sodium to LED streetlights. A couple months ago, I was approached by our project manager with Amoresco and said, hey, look, we're charging you too much money. And basically, with the measurement and verification portion of the contract, they used the model that we used for the solar covered parking. And solar, the production of solar energy, it fluctuates from day to day. With a cloudy day, it can produce little, and the next day it could be sunny. But with LED streetlights, with the fixed rates that are at APS, you flip on the streetlights, it's going to consume the same amount of energy day in and day out. So the measurement and verification does not take a lot of their time to write the reports for us. So what they are proposing, under the current agreement, the measurement and verifications would cost about $136,000 over the period of 15 years. Under the new amendment, this would decrease to only $21,000 over 15 years, which is a savings of $115,000 over 15 years. So, in return for that, we have to submit a letter to them every year stating that we aren't changing any of our streetlights to less efficient streetlights, which we obviously won't be doing. And so in return for that, we will be getting the reduction of the annual measurement and verification costs. So with that, staff recommends that the mayor and city council approve the amendment to the energy services agreement with Amoresco for LED street lighting. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Save money.
I know,
That's quite a
saving a lot of
savings.
money.
Bob?
Just so I understand, are they our electric provider for our streetlights?
No, they're the contractor we use to replace the streetlights.
Yeah.
These are the streetlights that are provided by APS. The city owns the streetlights, and we do the maintenance for them.
Okay.
But the energy is provided by APS. They're the contractor we used to replace the streetlights.
Service the lights, so it's going to be less expensive to service the lights.
Well, we actually service our own lights. This is for the energy savings agreement requires a measurement and verification done by state statute by the contractor that did the initial replacement of all of our streetlights. So in 2016, we replaced roughly 4,000 of our streetlights from the high pressure sodiums to the LED streetlights. And so they do an annual measurement and verification to make sure that we are getting the guaranteed savings that they said that we were supposed to get.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, then I'll consider ordinance number 2972.1.
Ordinance number 2972.1, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving amendment to number 1 to the city's energy services agreement for the LED street lighting project with Amoresco Incorporated, and authorizing the city manager to amend the energy services agreement.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 2972.1 as presented. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please, Carla?
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is I-5, ordinance number 3159.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The city staff, along with the staff of Casa Grande Elementary School District, we're excited to bring this before you tonight. So this has been a project that we've waited for a long time. And as you know, Mayor and City Council have formally made the acquisition of Elliott Park a goal as part of the 2018 strategic plan. And since then, staff has been in constant communication with the elementary school district to obtaining ownership of that park. Over the past 100 years, that this park has probably swapped hands a few different times, but for the last few decades has been owned by the school district, and the city has been maintaining it over the course of that time. So now the parties have reached an agreement in principle to provide an easement to the top of Kiwanis Field Tower for their radio operations for their bus services. For a period of 50 years in favor of the district, with the city receiving a deed to Elliott Park. The easement would allow the district use of the tower, but would also allow the city to use the tower for its own uses or leases to other parties, as long as the uses do not interfere with each other. These uses have been acknowledged by the parties to be roughly equivalent in value, which is required to allow the district to convey the property to the city of Casa Grande. Once the property is acquired, once Elliott Park is acquired by the city of Casa Grande, and as part of City Council's strategic plan, Staff has planned significant improvements to the park, including a new parking spaces, new sidewalks, shaded playground with new playground equipment, a new ramada, and just an overall better appearance of that park as well. So staff hopes obtaining ownership of the park and the improvements to the park will help improve the amenities to the nearby residents and serve as a beautification project for that south side area, which is very much needed. So with that, staff recommends that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance authorizing the city to enter into both a land interest exchange agreement and a tower easement agreement, both with the Casa Grande Elementary School District. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Powell.
I took a trip down there today to look over, and Steve, don't we have a shade or something that we're going to move to that park location, I think? Steve.
Yes, we have several plans for that park. One would be a shaded playground, and one would be a new ramada.
Wonderful.
For that site. In
Well,
addition to some parking and some new playground equipment.
You know, I looked at Main Street, that 2-block area that needs to be new road, and then the Florence Street coming in needs to be repaved. When those kind of things get done, it's going to really feel different down there on the south side of Casa Grande. So really happy that this is happening.
Very good. Any other comments, questions?
Just a clarification, is that on the west end of the parcel where they're going to Carter McNabb Park, where we're giving them?
Yes,
I mean, where
The tower, you mean?
the tower.
Yes, Councilmember McBride. It's where Kiwanis Field is.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a tower. There's also a
tower.
small little building where some of the communications equipment is
Okay,
located.
thank you.
And just a comment, just to follow up on what Councilmember Powell said, you know, I'm glad to see you guys were persistent and kept on top of this, because it's something that we've talked about. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great addition.
It'd be a nice
So
improvement.
thank you.
Great, thank you, Stephen. All right, I'll consider an ordinance number, please.
Sorry, I got it wrong.
3159.
It is 3159, okay, sorry. Ordinance number 3159, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the land interest exchange agreement between the city of Casa Grande and the Casa Grande Elementary School District, approving the tower easement agreement between the city of Casa Grande and the Casa Grande Elementary School District, and authorizing the execution of agreements by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 3159 as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston,
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Councilmember Herman,
Yes.
Councilmember Powell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride,
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, moving on to item K, ordinances, resolutions, and other matters subject requiring action by the council. Item K1, final adoption of ordinance number 1178.398.
Yes, and ordinance number 1178.398 is on the regular agenda. It was the last meeting, and it is before the council for a second reading.
Mr. Powell.
I'm probably the only one that has a comment anyway, but back in 1998, when I first was on the council, you built 7,000 square foot lots like Rancho Grande and everybody, and everybody kind of did the same thing. And the developers were starting to really think people about, could I get this, could I get that, or whatever. And that's when we started the planned area developments. And we had no standards at that point in time. So I met with, I forget who else was with me representing council, but we met with the realtors and the home builders and that type of thing for quite some time, and came up with standards. If you guys want to be in something where you can have smaller homes, bigger homes, and this type of thing, you can do it, but you have to give something to get that. So the PAD's always been really special as far as I'm concerned, and you know, I believe that I think we kind of bastardized PAD zoning when R4 is appropriate. And I believe our zoning categories should be specifically adhered to as they're written, regardless of developer pressure. If we have them written down and it's a rule, that'd be like the police chief saying, look, we're pulling you over for going 70, and say, couldn't you let me go 40 on the ticket, you know? I mean, we have rules and we have guides, and in my mind, we're supposed to abide by them. And so, I mean, this is water under the bridge right now. I'm a single no vote, but as I say, I would sure like to see us in the future try to do these as written instead of making different kind of deals and that type of thing, because there's nothing in common between the I-4 and the PAD in this plan. I'll be quiet.
Anybody else have any questions, Bob?
On this issue, on this project, I kind of took the opposite view as Mr. Powell did. I respect your experience in the formation of these rules, and I certainly don't want to be a rule. At the same time, I look at a project like this, and in my mind, it's somewhat unique that it is age restricted. It's a private community, a gated community. And I think it caters, or it's designed to cater to a specific customer. I took exception that under our rules, that they could only go down to a 5,000 square foot lot. In my mind, I'm thinking this type of community with the older occupant, that a smaller lot would be fine, and the customers that are going to come to this development may actually appreciate a smaller lot. So anyway, that's my reasoning, and I think at some point maybe a R4 approach would have been better.
Did you read R4?
I was still talking.
I know, this question.
But anyway, I think there should be some kind of carve out for these type of developments. I think there's a place for them. I think, as with any development, we have the responsibility to look it over and you know, make the appropriate call. But Mr. Powell, I'm not arguing with you. That's yours, but I have mine too. And so that was my stance, and I just wanted to make that clear.
Could I just respond to this? The only thing I wanted to say is, if you read R4, it's completely what you're saying. Oh. It's for that type of home, basically, and it's ground set, and you can be on there, you can be 45 or 50 or 5,000 or 4,500, either one. But it's specifically for that. It was set up originally for mobile homes. Mm-hmm. And so this is basically the same one. So R4, if you read it, when you get a chance, read R4, and you'll see it's exactly what you're wanting. And I agree with you that what you're wanting is what it should be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
None.
All right, then I'll consider ordinance number.
Ordinance number 1178.398, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, amending zoning ordinance number 1178 and its subsequent amendments by changing the zoning from single-family residential R-1A to planned area development PAD on property located at the northwest corner of Casa Grande Avenue and O'Neill Drive, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor McFarland, I would move for the passage of ordinance number 1178.398 as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please, Carla?
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Surprisingly, no.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. All right, moving to public hearings and item L1. This is probably Mayor Allen, is it not?
Hello. We're asking tonight for approval of the program year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. As part of the HUD requirement, we had a 15-day public comment period where we posted the, we call it a caper, online, and we also had a hard copy in our office which we shared with you. And I didn't receive any comments or any feedback. But I'd like just to kind of give a brief overview of what we accomplished last year. And it's from July 2018 through June 2019. So with public services, we had Seeds of Hope, the Senior Connections Program. They were funded $15,905. They provided services for 68 seniors. We had Against Abuse, advocacy services for victims and homeless women and children. They were awarded $15,000 and they served 53 women and children. The Casa Grande Police Department, the Southside Crime Prevention Education Program, received $5,000 and they served approximately 200 local residents. Thomas Anderson did an awesome job of reaching out to the Southside neighborhoods. He used Elliott Park on many occasions. And so these might be duplicative numbers, but a lot of them came out to his events. Community Action Human Resource Agency from Casa Grande Homeless Services received $15,000, but they only spent $14,670 as of when I ran the report. And they served 60 clients here in Casa Grande. The Arizona Foundation for the Handicap is a facilities improvement. Oh, I'm sorry, that should have been $40,000. I apologize. They served 101 handicapped individuals. They're located down on Main Street, and they had 2 buildings, and they've been here for well over 20 years. And they didn't have push-open doors. They didn't have accessible bathrooms. So our $40,000 was able to help them fix their facility. The Casa Grande Community Services, Carr McNatt Park, playground equipment was $50,000. That was a carryover from the previous year, but we were finally able to get to a point where we could install it. So I kind of guesstimated a minimum of 1,000 residents will benefit from that playground equipment. The City of Casa Grande, our division, the Community Development Division, we completed 3 owner-occupied housing rehabilitation houses, and we have 3 more projects in process. So we should be finished by November with a little bit of carryover money again. The City of Casa Grande Public Works Department Southside Sidewalk Project, it's in progress right now. We awarded them $120,821, and that's going to do sidewalk improvements from Nutt Park to Elliott Park. And they've done the RFP, and I believe they're in the process of awarding that contract. So hopefully, I think that project is slated to be done sometime November, early December. And then also with the Casa Grande Community Services Elliott Park Shade Ramada was $30,000. So we're moving forward with that project now that we own it. So, have any questions?
Matt?
I'm sorry no one commented on the caper, so I'll say great job.
Thank you.
It really goes, I'm impressed with $1,000 to help 3 homeowners, and you get a lot out of your money for all those programs. And the Elliott Park is a really nice piece tonight too, especially since we're getting it all. So thank you.
And I just want to say, I think that all of those projects help so many different parts of our community and different age groups, and that's really important that we're servicing all of our communities. So great job on doing that.
Keep up the good work. Any other comments from anybody? Seeing none, then it is public hearings. Yeah. Oh. Then I'll open the floor for public comment. Anybody have any comments on our community development block grant activities?
Nope.
Okay. Seeing none, then I'll close the public hearing and call for a resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5200, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, adopting the 2018 Community Development Block Grant Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of resolution number 5200 as presented.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. Thank you, Marion. Okay, next item, public hearing is L2. Mr.
Good evening,
Tice.
Mayor, City Council. This will be a little bit of a repeat for you because we did a study session recently on it. So this is in regards to the code text amendment, modifying the maximum height in the industrial zone districts. So as previously discussed in the study session, the city's put a great effort into attracting new industrial development over the past couple of years. And a common concern that's been brought up in early meetings with those prospects is related to the maximum allowed height within those zone districts. So this code text amendment will assist in adding industrial users for our city. It's also intended to ensure that the City of Casa Grande is pursuing the best planning practices, hence providing the city with a little bit of an advantage when competing with other communities in the region and throughout the country, actually. The first one we'll cover is the I-1 zone district. It's our garden and light industrial district. The current height, maximum allowed height is 35 feet. The proposal is to bring that up to 45 feet. In regards to the I-2 zone district, which is our general industrial district, current maximum height is 55 feet. We're proposing to bring that to 60 feet, and an additional building height up to a maximum of 75 feet can be achieved through following some development standards, and I'll get into those development standards in a little bit. The reason that we do limit height in the past was partially because of fire protection. Again, City of Casa Grande now has the ability to reach up to 100 feet with its current aerial equipment. And then we've also adopted new building code and fire codes that require sprinklers on buildings that are 5,000 square feet or larger. Other reasons for limiting height is obviously due to the community character, the aesthetics, the bulk and scale, and compatibility with surrounding uses. We utilize with this ordinance, we utilize the additional development standards to help alleviate some of those concerns. So those specific design standards are an increased building setback, an additional 3 feet for every additional foot in height that you exceed that 60 feet. The second one is increasing the street frontage landscaping an additional 10 feet in depth. Additional landscape area shall include an amount equal to or greater than 1 tree and 3 shrubs for each 30 feet of frontage, and vegetative ground cover occupying a minimum of 60%, which really matches our original. We have current standard where you provide 15 feet. This will now make it 25 feet and double the landscape to help with that compatibility with surrounding uses. And the final one is the building and its appurtenances shall be designed, constructed, and or colored in order to correspond with the aesthetic, the view shed, and other characteristics of the area which they're to be located. And again, I wanted to emphasize that we're working to create an industrial corridor. We'll be working a little bit more on that as we proceed with the 2030 general plan. The reason I'm bringing it up is that this also alleviates some of that compatibility with surrounding uses, as most of our uses should be surrounded by other industrial users. And you've seen these before. These are examples of buildings needing more than the 35 feet that we would picture would be a good fit in our I-1 zone districts. And then buildings needing more than 55, which would be a good fit in our I-2 zone districts. And again, we still have height exemptions in the code for items such as elevators, water tanks, scenery lofts, cooling towers, and other structures that are where the manufacturing process requires additional height. You can see a couple of examples of previous granted height exceptions with Frito-Lay and Airman's Dairy, Walmart, and Abbott Labs. Planning Commission saw this at their last hearing and voted 7-0 to recommend that City Council approve the adoption of DSA 19-00079. And the proposed code text amendment to building heights in the I-1 and I-2 zone districts. Can I answer any questions? Do you have any comments?
Council? Seeing none, I'll open the, this is a public hearing, so I'm going to open it to public comment. Please state your name and your address.
Good evening, Mayor, Council John McGuire, 1748 North St. Francis Place. Finally can speak a little bit more clearly now since my recent health issues, but to nobody's surprise here tonight, I'm fully in support of this. I would like nothing more than to see buildings like those pictures that Mr. Horn showed along Maricopa Casa Grande Highway sooner rather than later. And so I just want to make sure that I don't anticipate any hiccups here tonight, but I did want to get up and voice my support of the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. McGuire. Anyone else in the audience? Okay, seeing none, then I will close the public hearing and call for a resolution, or ordinance number, excuse me.
Ordinance number 1397.17.47, an ordinance of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, amending chapters 17.16, 17.32, and 17.36 of the City of Casa Grande Municipal Code concerning building heights in industrial zones, establishing the severability of the various sections of the ordinance, and establishing an effective date.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 1397.17.47.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Huddleston?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes, because I think it's a great idea, and I want to stay with John on this.
Mayor Pro Tem McBride?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. All right, next item on the agenda is item N, reports. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Powell.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I would report that went over to Florence to visit with the Babbitt group that's doing water studies and that type of thing. And there was people on the presentation board, quite a few of the people were over there for that. And it's kind of trying to get off to a start, but it hadn't really got there. What was exciting for me is Steve Miller, bless his heart, set it up for Goodman, who's going to Washington, D.C., to take a map and a letter about the proposal we've had. He was very impressed, and I got a deal from Steve and said they're tickled to death about it in Washington. So we may eventually, if we're lucky and keep persevering, we might have a new source of water, which would be wonderful to come in behind our dams and get back to how it used to be, especially we need water for agriculture badly. So that was my happy times, and the other happy time was getting over having my sinuses redone. And I'm glad I've returned now, so.
You're back at it.
Yeah, back at it.
Okay. Donna?
Oh, gosh, the last couple of weeks have been really busy. The Chamber of Commerce has had a couple of events I attended. Saturday night, I had the honor of being at the first responder banquet that was done by the Elks. And we had two of our own, Officer Curtis Kaiser, messing that name up, and Captain Ernie Delgado, that were recognized by the Elks. And it was just a really full house, and they did a great job at recognizing our first responders, and the Elks do that every year, and that was really exciting.
That's good.
And they had Coffee with a Cop. Thomas Anderson does a great job with that. And just coming up, Mayor's Reading Program on Wednesday, that we'll be out there reading. And the Arizona Town Hall's coming up on Friday.
Okay. Matt?
Thank you. Had an opportunity to meet with Representative Mike Conaway from Texas today, who's actually the ranking member of the Agriculture Committee He used to be the chairman, but.
Wow.
Yeah, so he came to Casa Grande today and Pinal County to learn about our plight with ag to kind of go along. So he's aware and trying to help us out. The trick or treat trot.
Say that
Say
fast.
that.
Yes, it's going to be on October 5th, so that's before our next meeting. But it's going to be at the newly opened Carr McNatt Park, and it's kind of replacing the Playtopia, but for little kids. And they're looking for volunteers too. The Youth Commission's looking into it, so that'll be good. And the Black Box Foundation left us a neat little thing about 2 storytellings, one for Hispanic Heritage Month and one for November. Doesn't say specific month, but just so you know, there's 2 sides to this card, so don't let that go. And the Casa Grande Rotary Foundation is hosting their 34th annual raffle. It's a little different than our auction, so it's easier. You just get raffle tickets, and I happen to have some if anybody would like some. And it's on October 6th at 2 p.m., and we're holding it at the new rec center in the afternoon on Sunday. So I have the tickets, and the grand prize is $5,000. So
Nice.
there you go. Again, I have them if you're interested.
Okay.
Me? Well, as you all know, September is Hispanic Heritage Month, and so Gloria, the Arts and Humanities Commission, put out this really nice flyer. I love it, it's so colorful, and it tells all the activities, and I think you can go online, is that right? And see the activities going on. But this Thursday, the Latino Familia Initiative with the City Arts and Humanities Commission will be hosting a mariachi concert at the Casa Grande Middle School. It's called Mariachi Rubor, and it's an all-female mariachi group, and I really hope you guys come out. It's one of the ladies that plays in this group is a local. She went to Casa Grande Union High School, and she went to Arizona State, and decided she wanted to she was in the band here, and decided she wanted to pursue music when she got to Arizona State, and there was this female mariachi group. And so she joined it when she was at ASU, and she has been with them ever since then. So she moved back to Casa Grande, works at Cara, and she's part of this group. But they're really good. So I really hope you come. It's 6 o'clock, free. We'll have light refreshments, a Mexican pastry, and drinks, not alcohol, but, you know, water. But so I hope you come out. And then there's other activities with the Arts and Humanities. The museum is doing a ballet folklorico on October 12th. Cesar Chavez they're doing something at the Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Through the Eyes of the Youth. So we're kind of putting it into October as well. So I hope you go on and check out the different activities going on for the month. And kind of to follow along with that, there's an event that one of our locals was honored at, and that's the Profiles of Success. You've been there, Councilmember Powell. And Dolores Underwood was honored at this event for her leadership in the Hispanic community. So great event. It's probably like 1,500 people, and we're just proud to have Dolores recognized for all that she does in the community. And then, let's see, the Carr McNatt opening, I'm so excited about that, the 26th. There's a ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock. I hope everyone comes and joins in. Looking forward to those fences coming down so we can all take part in the park there. Let's see, I think I have, CG Helps, the CG Help Resource Center. On the 4th of September, they had what they called a Feel Good Wednesday. And with the hepatitis A outbreak, the Pinal County Health Department and CG Helps partnered, and they were giving shots to whoever wanted to come in and get the hepatitis A shot. So they had about 40 people come through, and they were giving the homeless showers. They were taking them out to the truck stop and giving them showers. They had the churches providing food and drinks. They even had someone grooming the dogs, animals of some of the unsheltered that are in our community. So it was a really nice event. It was the first time they did it, and when I went, it was so hot out there, but I was just so happy to see the response and people walking around. There was they were giving away shoes and clothing, and some of the people had their little bags and stocked up on clothing. So it was a great event for the first time with the CG Helps Resource Center. And I know I joked a little bit about the alley, how I got my notice. But I do want to remind the community, you know, the city is really trying to clean up the alleys. And I think the city and the staff has done a great job. I know it's really, really difficult, you know, to keep these alleys clean. And, you know, it's really up to us property owners to make sure that we're maintaining our part of the alley. So, you know, sometimes we don't think, because I know there was a big tree behind my fence line and I didn't plant the tree, but the branches were getting, you know, pretty big and hanging over, and the garbage trucks were coming by and hitting them. And so I did get a notice. So for those of you that did get a notice, you know, please take it seriously and try to clean up the weeds and the trees in your alleyway. You know, someone has to do it, so it's really up to us. But I was kind of surprised when I got the notice. I was like, oh shoot, I better get on top of this. So yeah, I think that's it for me.
Lisa, is the 22nd Independence Day?
16th. Well, today's
16th.
Yeah, the 16th is.
Okay, today.
September
Okay.
16th
All right,
is. Yep.
today. Bob?
Thank you, Mayor, but no report tonight.
All right. That's what happens when you go last. Everybody takes everything. I have a couple things. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to our historic preservation group and Main Street for the work they've done on our neon sign park. The Casa Grande Neon Sign Park was recognized by the American Planners Association last week at their annual awards banquet, and Casa Grande was named Great Places. It won the award for Great Places in Arizona. So huge deal, big recognition. Yeah, a lot of, well, we need to continue to work on it too, because we have continuing costs and stuff. So if anybody wants to donate, talk to Main Street or Marge Jantz. So Rena and Marge have done a huge amount of work on that project. So I wanted to give them a shout out and a big congratulations. I was actually able to attend, so it was nice to be there.
There's another lady right there. Never mind. Go ahead.
I-10 corridor study, or the corridor study is actually starting this week. And they're going to be meeting actually on Tuesday up at MAG's office, the Maricopa Area Government offices. So we'll see what that brings.
Bet you'll be there.
I will be there. And actually tomorrow I'm attending Science and Technology Roundtable up in Scottsdale with Mayor Lane. He invited me to come up and be part of their roundtable, and then I'll be heading to ADOT meeting from there and then back home. And then we have on Wednesday, we have the General Plan Steering Forum, is the first night of that meeting, which it's actually in the afternoon, it starts at 1 o'clock. So we'll be kicking that off. I'm attending the ADOT board meeting, and there's an I-11 bus tour that's going to be over in Maricopa on Thursday, and then having dinner with the ADOT board on Thursday night. So hopefully I can chew on the air a little bit about some of the needs that we have, or that we continue to have. I want to remind everybody the Boys and Girls Club annual golf tournament is the 28th of September. If you haven't got your foursomes yet, please do so. You can look it up online on BCGA or BCG, Boys and Girls Club.com, and or check the club out at the new Community Rec Center. They have all the flyers, or ask me, I can get it for you. Just reminding everybody on the census, keep that in the top of your mind. We need to make sure that the 2020 census is part of everybody's vocabulary here in the next 6 months. What's the date that we can start doing surveys, Stephen? March
Mr. Mayor, I think it's March 23rd is when you're able to fill out the
You can't sneak it to the 12th?
I'll do my best.
Okay.
I know nothing.
Then I'm also attending an automation vehicle seminar over in Florence next week on the 26th, which should be interesting in terms of all the automation that's coming down that we need to do. And then reminding everybody the anti-crime night is at Vista Grande. That's on the 24th, Tuesday the 24th, starts at 5:30. So expect to see everybody there. Donna and I know will be there. And Lisa will be there. So we look forward to seeing everybody at that. And with that,
I think everybody will be there, probably.
I did receive, and I want to give a shout out to the kids. They sent me this. I haven't opened these yet, but I know what they are. There's some letters from Desert Willow. These are third graders that sent me these letters inviting me to their class to talk about local government. So I'm so excited to go. I'm going to go on the 23rd at 9 o'clock and with their teacher, and I'm sure they'll teach me a few things. So I think that's all I've got. I probably have some more, but I'll quit. Anybody else? Any other last comments? Matt?
The Car McNatt opening.
Yeah.
And we're doing the,
it was already mentioned.
yeah, but we're doing the, thankfully, finally, the splash pad.
Yes, the splash
So are
pad.
we going in, or?
Oh, you're asking?
You can.
Bob and
Bring
I'll
your
both
bathing
be
suit.
out.
How prepared
We'll
should
out
we
of
be?
state.
I think we should.
You guys
All
go
right?
ahead, Bob and
I
I'll
think
be
we
out of
should go
state. So.
in. I think we should go in. All right. Did you hear that,
Wear
Steve?
your
Where's
I Love
Steve? Hard to
CG
see here?
shirts and-
He's got it, okay. Hard to see, he's back there. He's got that, he's got this locked in there, Matt. And again, I want to give a shout out to Brandon. Thank you for being here tonight, and your story is very touching. Any tragedies on suicide, it hits close to home to a lot of people. I know, I have some stories of my own, but it's preventable, and we really need to raise that awareness and make sure that we're helping and listening, to listen to people, because they'll tell you that they're in trouble. So, okay, seeing nothing else, then we'll adjourn, or I need to adjourn into a motion to adjourn
So
into
moved.
executive.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move into executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.